Honesty, passion, experience. It's Timberwolves Explosion, hosted on the Paladino Live Network. And now, your host, Paladino Joey. Hello again, Timberwolves fans. Are you ready for the explosion of Timberwolves basketball? I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Owygen. Timberwolves Explosion is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps. I thank each and every one of you once and always for downloading and listening to the show. It is a great pleasure to be back on board with you once again today. An awesome pleasure. It's kind of one of those cloudy, cold, early May days, which is weird. We usually don't get weather this cold in May, but what the heck, at least it isn't snowing. But in the sports world, things are shining bright, very bright, as the Minnesota Timberwolves head to the City of Angels and defeat the Los Angeles Lakers in 5 games, advancing to the second round for the second straight season. Wolves in 5. Yeah. So, at least locally, was it Phil Mackey? Yep, of course, Phil Mackey of Score North and Flagrant Howls and all that. Obviously, Minnesota Sports, all those shows on Score North. Was one of the few people picking the Wolves in 5. I had the Lakers in 7. I apologize. But obviously a star team, a star, top-heavy team in Los Angeles with 2 star players, but the depth definitely was a factor. And boy, was it ever. And apparently the coaching was a factor as well. Chris Finch, in a lot of ways, I would have to say, outcoached J.J. Redick. Absolutely outstanding. We came on this show last time around. What were the Wolves, what was it, tied 1-1, right? The Timberwolves won the first game pretty convincingly, lost the second one in a close game, but it felt like, the Timberwolves actually could and should win this series. I don't think I'm on this Lakers in 7 anymore. Ultimately the Wolves absolutely did win the series. They never lost another game. All those years ago, it's like third time's the charm, as the Wolves in the past, basically similar situations in 02-03 and 03-04 would lose the first game, win the second game, win the third game at home, because the Lakers would have, the Wolves had home court advantage in all 3 series, which is really weird. It's actually really strange. The Wolves have played the Lakers 3 times historically and have had home court in every single one of them. Back in 02-03, Timberwolves finished with the 4th seed. The Lakers had the 5th. But it's like, wow, the Wolves actually have home court for the first time in franchise history, and it's against the Lakers, of course. But the Wolves would go up 2-1 in both series, only to lose 3 in a row. Ugh, unbelievable. Just brutal. There was Lakers in 6 both years in a row. Winning in LA to make it 2-1, it was like, oh wow, we're gonna do this now. After blowing game 1, everything is completely back to where it should be. Wolves have home court again, and then they just said goodbye. Home court is out of here. And then of course going into LA and losing in game 6, which absolutely not the case here. The Timberwolves did not have home court in this series. The Timberwolves were the 6th seed, whereas last year the Timberwolves were the 3rd seed. So we were in the same part of the bracket, 3 versus 6. Against the Phoenix Suns, against the team that had dominated us all season. Timberwolves came out to play. It was like, holy crap, this is totally different. Are we going to actually beat the Suns now? All right. And you know what? For 3rd versus 6th, you think we should win. The Lakers end up being the 3rd seed and ended up losing in a mere 5 games. And ultimately finishing 1-2 at home versus the Timberwolves, 0-2 on the road in Target Center. But this series definitely wasn't easy, to say the least. Every game was pretty close except actually game 1. Game 2, the Timberwolves definitely had a chance to kind of come back, but they started so terribly and continued to shoot terribly and so on and so forth. The Lakers ended up winning. It felt like game 5 was going to be awfully similar to game 2 for the most part. After a nice little start, the Lakers just kept kind of creeping back into it, and the Wolves' shooting was awful. Anthony Edwards couldn't make diddly squat, and so on and so forth. But the Timberwolves' clutch ability coming to life after being so terrible during the course of the season. So, how many segments are we going to have? I don't know, maybe 2? should I just do one quick shot like some people do? 2 segments. It's not going to be 3. There will be definitely fan interaction. Could be just kind of just this series conversation and review, obviously after the first 2 games. So games 3, 4, and 5, all Timberwolves victories, believe it or not. And then kind of looking around the league in segment 2 with fan interaction, maybe wrapping things up. Maybe I will make it 3 segments, kind of like a classic show in a lot of ways. But unfortunately, the Timberwolves do not know who our opponent is going to be at this stage, as Golden State versus Houston is still ongoing. Golden State building a 3-1 lead as well as a 7 versus a 2. Obviously, they've come on strong ever since Jimmy Butthead went to the Golden State Warriors around the trade deadline at the last second, basically. It's like, oh, come on. And then all of a sudden, of course, they magically are, basically back in championship contender mode, which is so obnoxious. Like, we're so sick of those sons of guns. It's been 10 years of this nonsense, a few down years in between, and good riddance. That's pretty much how I felt during the course of time. I made it very clear, Golden State Warriors, this particular group is my least favorite team of all time in the NBA. I just don't like them. Sorry. I just don't. I built a Rushmore about players I dislike the most in the league. We'll call it Mount Dislike, so I don't get too harsh. It is official. There is a 4, and I can't believe I forgot the other person. Devin Booker, hello. So Steph Curry's like in the Washington position. Can't stand him. Get out of here. I can't wait till he's gone. Tired of the arrogance. Jimmy Butler is the biggest jerk of all time, so he's right next to Steph Curry. Number 3 is Devin Booker because he's constantly looking for a fight. He's an absolute punk, and he basically tried to injure Mike Conley last year and did injure Chris Finch. Anthony Edwards wisely did not go Derek Boogaard, a former Minnesota Wild enforcer, and beat the living hell out of Devin Booker, which Anthony Edwards absolutely could have done. Oh, yes. Could have done, and wouldn't blame him if he did, but it wasn't worth getting suspended and losing the Nuggets series at the end of the day. But that was ridiculous. So Devin Booker's number 3, and the newest addition, which you already heard in the last show, is Luka Doncic. God, he's a mean-spirited person. Like Anthony Edwards, when he's out there kind of talking and, having fun, he's mostly having fun. Like, he'll talk smack, but you notice how the other players just kind of smiling and having fun with him, like a LeBron James, like a what's his name? Like Kevin Durant. I don't mean to be like what's his name, but yeah, they were having fun. He wasn't trying to be a jerk to him. Where Luka Doncic, it seems like every second he's got some kind of combative attitude. Like he makes a shot on somebody, like take that bitch or something along those lines. Like you could read his lips, and then he was saying that to Julius Randle, and Donnie DiVincenzo was kind of like bleep off, basically. Who knows what he was basically telling him, but he was kind of going at him like, yeah, whatever, dude, bleep you. I don't know. Who knows? It's like the guy is just kind of, he's not a nice guy, Luka Doncic, if you didn't notice. There's a reason why the Mavericks traded him, because they were sick of him. And me and Marcus the Forecaster had a conversation about that, and I better wisely remember to get into that conversation as well. Marcus actually sounded a little bit like an Australian in the response. So there's an Australian, it's a word that's used in Australia quite a bit. So it was kind of funny. Yep, so I think the Aussies will appreciate what Marcus had to say. I think we're going to hear from Vince Germano. I do believe so. I don't know if he put a, what do they call that? A audio submission. I don't know if he did. But maybe for the next episode, if there's nothing now, Vince, it's an open invite anytime. And it's not, I'm obviously not gloating here. I'd like to win gracefully, not be like taunting the Lakers. I have no reason to do that. I don't think we're in any position to taunt the Lakers. They have, 17 titles? We've never been to the NBA Finals yet, so we have no real right to taunt anybody. So, and even if we had 5 or 6 titles, come on, taunting is classless. And I think that's what made me not like Curry over the years. Like when he was, I don't know, what did he hit, like a big 3 on the OKC Thunder years ago, and then was like running all over the court, making a jerk of himself on their court. And it's like, dude, stop. Stuff like that, it's like, what an ass. Grow up, man. So it's like things like that make me not like certain players. Like Anthony Edwards can be a little bit obnoxious, but he doesn't go that far. That's the difference. So it's not an outright disrespect to the other team. Anthony Edwards felt that the Timberwolves were disrespected, and that's why he was sure to say, we've been hearing all, the last 2 weeks, Lakers in 5. Lakers in 5, but it ended up being Wolves in 5. So that's kind of Anthony Edwards' comeback. Call it trash talk or whatever, but I don't know. It's just kind of responding. Wolves in 5. I'm sure Michael would have said the same thing years ago. But on to the series. I think I've done enough babbling and, I don't know, semi-gloating without really gloating at the end of the day. So Game 3 in Tarjay, kind of a defining moment for this team in surviving a LeBron James flurry late, as LeBron James played one of his best games during the whole season, hitting 3 after 3 after 3. Rui Hachimura, I thought, killed the Wolves from outside. Not in this particular game, but throughout the series, generally speaking. Doncic didn't play also great, 6 of 16 from the floor. Jackson Hayes, it's like, I don't know, Redick won't even play the guy. You can say what you want that he's not that good, but he didn't even play the guy. And, of course, I think one of the factors in this series that hurt the Lakers and, prevented the Lakers from being a championship contender was not being able to get Williams from the Charlotte Hornets. I remember thinking when the Hornets when the Lakers were working out that deal and it was supposedly done at the time with a physical pending, it's like the Lakers just became a championship contender. And, well, then the deal was nullified because Williams failed the physical. And that's kind of why the Lakers are where they are today. Kind of, sort of why. Redick obviously overused the 5 players in game number 4. We'll get to that in a minute, but holy cow, that was crazy and kind of over the top. As great as LeBron James is, he is 40 years old, and playing him 40-plus minutes, I don't know. I think when you start reaching that 40 number at age 40, it's as good a shape as you're in. You're still 40 years old. It's probably not a good thing. It's probably a little bit overkill. You could tell LeBron James was extremely down about this one. Bronny James did get in 38 seconds, though, at the end, which is funny. But how the Wolves were able to survive the flurry by LeBron James and pull away late was pretty epic stuff. Anthony Edwards with 29, Jaden McDaniels with 30. A great series for Jaden McDaniels. I did put a poll up there. Hopefully it got a decent amount of responses. It looked like it got some. And it's actually a highly debated poll at who was the MVP of the series. And we'll get to that in the fan interaction segment. At least I freaking better. Julius Randle, often talked about in the past as not being a good playoff performer or being hurt or whatever. Like last year, he didn't even play for the Knicks when they almost went to the conference final, but no Julius Randle. That certainly didn't help. Julius Randle was an integral part of this series and this victory, this 5-game victory. Mike Conley would have his moments, but generally speaking, Conley, again, another guy who's, up there in years and all that, but whatever. LeBron James definitely older, but looks younger with the way he's able to just kind of still play full-time out there, where I think Mike Conley at the stage of his career, he's a part-time guy. Austin Reeves would have some moments throughout the series. In this game, 7 of 18, 5 of 11 from downtown overall. But again, the Wolves surviving a LeBron James flurry. It was terrifying a bit. The Lakers would actually take a lead for a short amount of time, but then down the stretch, guys like Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards, Julius Randle would kind of carry the load. And of course, Naz Reid, clutch down the stretch, as he hadn't done a whole lot, but 2 clutch threes helped the Timberwolves pull away and win this game. And what an absolutely huge victory it truly was. Last year against the Mavericks, the Wolves only won 1 game. So for the Wolves to survive against Luka Doncic, absolutely freaking huge. In this one, one of the highlights of the game as well, they replayed last year's big shot by Doncic over Rudy Gobert, which kind of was a defining moment of that series. As Timberwolves, were winning that entire game. It was game 2. It was going to be a tied series. We're going to be okay. We're going to survive. And then at the last second, Doncic hits a 3 to put the Mavs up by 1. Rudy Gobert was pulled out there to guard Doncic one-on-one. Doncic was able to throw it up and hit it in the infamous line, and more reasons why. I don't know. Doncic rubs me the wrong way, and I think he's rubbed a lot of people the wrong way recently, where you can't guard me, MFer and such. It's too much. It's okay sometimes maybe in a big moment, but when it's like several times a game, it seems like it's kind of been an ongoing thing. That's where people get a little bit leery of that nonsense. Boy, but then they showed the replay because a certain play had just happened where Doncic, it was a similar situation where Rudy was pulled out to the perimeter to guard Doncic in the situation, and Rudy tapped the ball away and put the Wolves on a fast break for a transition basket. Totally different scenario there. And it's symbolic as to how this series went and how it's like, well, we've grown, we've learned. And as Julius Randle said, where this team is battle tested. When I forget if that was after game 1 or game 3. I think it was game 3, where I tried to use voice text, and it came out as Julia instead of Julius Randle. I was using voice text, and I posted it because I didn't look, because just stupid. You think, oh yeah, it'll get Julius. I was like, Julia Randle just made the statement of the game. Just made a true statement like that this team is battle tested. That's the difference this year versus last. So that's why we're able to survive an onslaught from LeBron James. That's why we're able to survive Luka Doncic's crazy shots and crazy moments, and maybe calls going his way and calls not going their way as well later on, which can end up being crucial for the Lakers in not winning the series in a very close game 4, which we'll get to in a moment. But the Wolves pulling away on this one and winning. And the look on LeBron James's face was very similar to when the Cleveland Cavaliers lost to the Golden State Warriors in 2015, where he kind of had that big lip, the lower lip look, like like they call it like the puppy dog face when a kid is sad. So I was like, wow, I mean, LeBron James is feeling it after this one. He's feeling it like, man, that was very disappointing. And now what do we do? I don't know. We'll try it next game, blah, blah, blah. But, man, that was a really disappointing loss. And he felt defeated at the end of the day. So that was quite interesting that the Wolves were able to survive that onslaught. And you could kind of feel it like, oh, my God, we're actually going to beat this. There's a pretty good chance we're going to beat this team. Not are going to, but there's a good chance we are. And what's also crazy is obviously the fact LeBron James is in the Eastern Conference most of his career. Cleveland, Miami, Cleveland. Finally, LA, all these, but he's been there for 7 years. It is funny how at age 40, the Timberwolves finally play against LeBron James in a playoff series. And I guess it's 1-0. But it is just funny how it took that long to finally play LeBron James in a playoff series. It is interesting, but obviously years ago, it would have had to have been in the NBA Finals. And, well, as we know, the Wolves have never been there. Game 4 was much closer. The Lakers, it's not like completely the season is on the line, but kind of, sort of. And, well, it could also be a huge moment for the Lakers to get right back in the series and, well, regain home court, which they would in that situation. You simply win both of your home games and you win the series, period, no matter what happens in Game 6. You simply win both of your home games and you win the series. But, well, the Wolves would survive a onslaught by Luka Doncic, making all of his free throws. LeBron James would have 27 points, get to the line a hell of a lot. Had 3 blocks. I mean, LeBron James very tough in the paint and throughout the, just defensively, generally speaking, with 3 steals, 3 blocks, causing guys like, obviously, Julius Randle to struggle inside. It felt like there were maybe some fouls that could have been called, but they weren't, and this and that. It is what it is. It's a tough physical game. Rudy Gobert only 1 of 6 for 5 points, but did get his 10 rebounds. Gobert pretty invisible in this series until game number 5. Yeah, game 5. Yep, we'll talk about that next. But Anthony Edwards in this one was the star of the show. 43 points, 5 of 10 from downtown. Even had 17 free throws, making 14 of them. This was a grueling battle, and again, the defining game of the entire series. As defining as Game 3 was, this was the series right here in so many ways. And this is when you knew the Timberwolves absolutely could and should win this series. Donnie DiVincenzo also added 5 steals, which was absolutely huge. Definitely forcing turnovers on the Lakers, like Luka Doncic especially, maybe James a little bit, but Luka Doncic especially with 4 turnovers. Donnie DiVincenzo forcing some steals despite shooting terribly, 3 of 11 and 1 of 4 from outside. Donnie DiVincenzo is the kind of player that you don't want him like dribbling, moving around, and shooting the ball like the Currys of the world. It's not high percentage for Dante. He's got to be facing the basket and kind of in a catch and shoot motion. That's where you get the really high percentage shots. And it's kind of a shooter's thing anyway. Like Doncic is that way. Everybody out there, it's a higher percentage shot when you're facing the basket, receiving the ball and releasing without moving at all, without moving your feet. Just boom, catch and shoot. And you can see what you want, how it's like that's basketball 101, or kindergartners know that. Not necessarily, because you don't see adult players doing that all the time. They'd rather be a little bit fancier and moving around with the ball. But I don't know. That's kind of how it is for a lot of guys, and still you might miss on your catch and shoots. But I do think the percentage is insanely higher. I also do believe at least one of LeBron's blocks, possibly could have been a goaltend. I think it was on a Dante DiVincenzo layup type of thing, like a floater layup type of deal, and that was frustrating. But again, that's how it goes. This was a obviously tight, frightening game. Anthony Edwards driving the ball late to hopefully get the Wolves ahead in a very tight, scary situation. Lakers trailing by one, thankfully, as the Wolves were able to hit some big shots, especially Anthony Edwards, again, 5 of 10 from downtown, and making crucial free throws at the end of the day. And again, like I said, 43 points. But again, one of the defining moments of the whole game was when Anthony Edwards was driving to the basket. Again, the Lakers down by one, Wolves up by one, and it looked like the ball was knocked away, so on and so forth. Then there was a review, like, I think, absolutely LeBron James hit my wrist. Anthony Edwards, like, please review. I forgot I review this because otherwise it's Lakers ball with 9 seconds left, and there's a pretty good chance somebody's going to hit some shot and the Lakers escape with a victory. But then the review was going on and on and on. The announcers the whole time are saying, yeah, this is going to be Lakers ball. It's going to be Lakers ball. And then at the last second, there was finally the shot. The bird's eye view shot of LeBron James slapping Anthony Edwards' wrist. Just unbelievable. And they're like, oh my God, it hit his wrist. It hit his wrist. It is going to be Wolves ball. As the announcers finally, after basically favoring the Lakers the whole game, as a lot of us here in the Twin Cities would like to tell you, because it sure feels that way. It sure felt that way that the ESPNs and TNTs favored the Lakers most of the way. I don't think Kevin Harlan does, because what did Kevin Harlan do back in the 90s? He was our play-by-play voice. I think Kevin Harlan likes the Wolves a little more than the Lakers. I just maybe, even though he's trying to be a national broadcaster, being objective for the last 25 years or so now. 20 years or so. Yeah, 20 to 25 years already. Dang, it's been that long. Man, yeah, it has been. It's been over 25 years. That's crazy. Wow. Man, we're all getting old, aren't we? But this was ESPN. Was it like Doris and all them? We're like, oh, it was a foul. Wow. And then the referees did overturn the call and gave the Wolves the ball, which was shocking. Like, you thought, there's no way. Like the NBA, the Lakers, ESPN, the refs, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be Laker ball. And just watch Doncic or LeBron hit some big shot and the Wolves and Lakers are tied. And this thing is going the wrong way very quickly. Very quickly. Unless the Wolves pull off a clutch Game 5 win and take care of business in Game 6. But we'll see. We'll see. Teams haven't been doing that all the time. Obviously, the Denver Nuggets were unable to take care of that last night. So there will be a Game 7. It was in LA for Clipperland anyway, but definitely a defining moment in the series. As the Wolves would go up 3-1 in stunning fashion. Anthony Edwards at his free throws go up by 3. The final shot to try to tie the game, and you thought, oh, just watch. Somebody like Doncic will hit the damn 3, and we're going to OT, and then who knows what happens there. Who knows what tip of the ball or whatever the heck, Doncic gets hot or whatever. But nope, it was Reeves, and he missed. So he just simply missed. And you saw dark blue jerseys pull the ball down, and it felt like $1,000,000. Oh my God, this team is up 3-1. So that was amazing. It is kind of ironic too, as both of the two teams in this town, the Wolves and the Wild, went up 2-1 in the series. The Wild don't win another game; they lose in 6. Absolutely depressing. Lots of close, frustrating calls. I'll do a Brave the Wild probably this weekend at some point to talk about that if you're interested in some hockey conversation locally here in the Twin Cities. And of course abroad as well, but if you care about the other team in this town, whether you're from Australia or St. Paul, Minnesota. It's crazy how the two teams kind of went in opposite directions in Game 4. Obviously, calls that did not go the Wild's way. And, just players making dumb mistakes and coaching decisions that were not good at all. And the other reason, again, the Lakers struggling in this one, as the Wolves were trailing most of the way, but pulled away in that fourth quarter. Lakers were on a huge run in the third. Felt like the Lakers were going to win this game pretty much the whole way until the very end. The Wolves would chip away, and the Lakers would get more and more tired. As Luka Doncic, who's been known to not be in the best shape all the time and has been injury prone throughout his career. Almost 46 minutes. LeBron James, 46 years old. Of course, he's had injuries throughout his career, but he's kind of got that Tom Brady gene where he's able to stick around and still be close to his prime, despite the fact he's 40 years old. Like Tom Brady still won the Super Bowl in his mid 40s. How impressive is that? 43. That's pushing mid 40s to easily be the oldest player to win a Super Bowl, oldest quarterback, and he was still super good in that game. He was still super good that whole season. Tom Brady and LeBron has got that gene, which very few players have. Even Michael was pretty good, and I don't think he would have been as so-so-ish, like a so-so star player when he came back with the Wizards if he had kept playing, because he would have still been kind of probably in better shape and all that. So that's kind of the shame. I'm sure Michael would have been similar to LeBron and Brady. But, well, it is what it is. History, you can't change history there. Michael retired for 3 years. But, again, 46 minutes, despite the fact, again, LeBron James is, a specimen that is still close to his prime at age 40. That's kind of the whole point I'm trying to get to. Playing him 40 minutes is too much. Or 46 minutes is way too much. Absolutely no rest in the second half. He's not Kevin Durant at age 25 years ago, and that was kind of going on. Kevin Durant played the entire game, 48 minutes for the Thunder during their playoff run. It was a 48-minute game in there. Kevin Durant was in his mid-20s. So that's kind of the difference here. 40 is 40 no matter what kind of shape you're in. So, or who the heck you're, or what kind of weird technologies inside of him. I shudder thinking about that. But we'll get off of that topic immediately. Rui Hachimura, again, those catch-and-shoot threes by Rui kept the Lakers ahead, kept the Lakers in the game, and certainly did that in Game 5. But 5 of 10 for Rui in this one from downtown. He's been a huge problem for the Wolves in the perimeter defense. And if you're going to play the Rockets or the Warriors in round 2, you got to play better closeout defense than the Wolves did in this series. Absolutely. You're going against a decent coach, obviously, with Houston. Did a good job with Boston previously before getting in trouble there. And, of course, Steve Kerr, can't stand the guy, but can't stand the guy. And I'll always say there's a reason Michael Jordan punched him in the face. Yeah. Whether they got along after that or not, I couldn't care less. He punched him in the face for a reason, because he's annoying. He just is. But the coaching is going to be a little more experienced. Now, as we headed into Game 5, Mr. J.J. Redick snapped at the reporter asking a question about the minutes and such, and he's like, what, are you trying to say I'm not experienced? Do you think I don't talk to my assistant coaches or something along those lines? And he simply got up and walked out right away. So that was a little harsh and kind of crazy. So definitely not a good look for J.J. Redick at the end of the day. You can imagine the frustration and all that, and all people questioning his decisions, but, well, it is what it is. Game 5, the Timberwolves do end up winning in Los Angeles, despite, again, they did get off to a good start this time around, but then the game just kind of dragged on, and the Lakers kept getting better and better. Rui Hachimura kept hitting his three-pointers, 5 of 8, and catch-and-shoot 3 after catch-and-shoot 3. It was so obnoxious. I feel like the guy made about 15 of them. It was 5 of 8, which is still good. And it's crazy. The Lakers only shot about 30% from outside and 42% overall, so it's not like they shot particularly well in Game 5. They really didn't. But the Wolves shot like dog dookie in this game and still ended up surviving. 7 of 47. 7 of 47. 14.9%, or basically 15% from 3. 47 attempts, and you shoot 15%. That is garbage. It's crap. 40.4% overall from the floor. Donnie DiVincenzo, 2 of 12 from downtown. It's like, it was just mind-numbing. You see Rui Hachimura, catch and shoot threes, and then Dante, forcing up shots and missing. Anthony Edwards couldn't make a shot for his life. Like, what the heck, man? 0 of 11 from 3, 5 of 19 overall for 15 points. Again, a common sense stat, but still something you bring up, and like your jaw drops when you see more field goal attempts than points on a star player. It's like, what just happened here? Or even a decent role player. Like Nikhil couldn't hit the broadside of a barn most of the series. 11 field goal attempts, 10 points. 2 of 9 from outside. Just frustrating. 13 attempts for Dante, 9 points. Jeez. Jeez. But then there's this other guy named Rudy Gobert. 15 attempts, 12 makes. Yeah, obviously close to the basket, but it counts. It counts. He stunk at the line like usual, but only 3 of 6. So it's not like he was there the whole game. It wasn't a hack of Rudy necessarily. Julius Randle would hit some huge, huge floater shots, getting close to the basket and such, using his physicality and surviving time after time after time and playing tough defense on LeBron James, whether he's tired or not. Jaden McDaniels did not have his best game. He ran into foul trouble throughout the night, and that's why you hardly got to see him play, and ultimately fouls out. Not LeBron James, but Finney Smith also fouled out, and Jackson Hayes didn't see a second out there. Lakers go with Maxi Kleber, I guess they call him, and he made 1 basket and was a non-factor in a 5-minute period. Vanderbilt would have a moment or two. He was a little bit annoying at times early on in the series, but you didn't see him a whole lot the rest of the way. He would miss close, at the times he would attempt shots. He'd make a couple free throws, and that's about it, and get fouls and some big rebounds. Reeves only 5 of 14. That's not going to get it done. 2 of 10 from outside. Doncic 2 of 8, 7 of 18. At least he had more points than field goal attempts because he got to the line about 15,000 times. Okay, now 15 times. It's more appropriate. And his 9 assists. We appreciate it. Reeves was not too good, though. 6 turnovers, and again, good defense on Reeves certainly helped along the way as the Wolves were able to survive this. Anthony Edwards did have 0 turnovers in this game, and in the 43-point game, he had 1. And having the ball as much as Anthony did, pretty impressive. 8-0 assists to turnovers. So despite shooting like dog poop, 3 steals, getting the ball back, and 8 assists with no turnovers. And 11 rebounds. So again, it's not like Ant had a terrible game. He just didn't shoot well. He had a terrible shooting game. But you had the assists, the no turnovers, the steals. Anthony Edwards still a huge factor down the stretch. And it's already being debated who's the number 1 player in franchise history, as Anthony Edwards has now advanced out of the first round twice. In Timberwolves history, Kevin Garnett did it once. I know that doesn't define everything, and they talk about how Anthony Edwards is a better supporting staff and all that. Yeah, sure, you can say that, but was Garnett's supporting staff that bad when they won when they had all those 50-game seasons? I mean, is it okay to advance once? Is it okay to overachieve once over a 12-year period? And how many playoff appearances did Garnett have? 7, 8, I think, with the Wolves. So it was kind of weird how he only advanced out of the first round once. But I don't know. I'm not here to trash on Garnett right now, even though I do think the Garnett worship in this town is a little over the top. I think it is. I think it is. And a lot of other people will actually agree, believe it or not. Most of you won't, but some people actually will. But we'll get off of that. Speaking of Kevin Garnett, though, Rudy Gobert, Kevin Garnett, Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, whatever you want to say he was in this game. He was absolutely the MVP of Game 5. But not the MVP of the series, but definitely Game 5. 27 points, 24 rebounds, 2 blocks, and tenacious out there as well, defensively, forcing misses, and people changing their shots and such. And that was a huge difference maker down the stretch as the Timberwolves survived in this tough game on the road where it felt like the Lakers were probably going to force a Game 6 and then see what happens. And luckily the Wolves didn't rest on their laurels in this one. That's the whole point. You're in a closeout situation. You don't want to bleep with it. You don't want to be that team that gives up a 3-1 lead and has to go to Game 7 on the road. You just don't want to be that team. Or Game 7 at home, where the pressure's on you one way or another. You had a 3-1 lead in the series, and you coughed it up. Just like I did off the mic just now, coughing. Not coughing anything up, really, necessarily, but, yeah, coughing so you can breathe properly. And, luckily the Wolves closed out the Los Angeles Lakers. They didn't mess around. They didn't let the Lakers get back in the series. Like getting to Game 6, you're still, there's still a chance for the Lakers. Knocking them out and finally putting an end to it, it's over. You don't have to worry about it anymore. And luckily the Wolves end up surviving a very tough game. Again, Anthony Edwards doing some special things along the way despite shooting terribly. It was just painful watching Dante DiVincenzo, Anthony Edwards, Nickeil Alexander-Walker missed shot after shot from outside. Julius Randle 1 of 6. That's terrible too. McDaniels missed both of his both of his corner threes that you thought should have been, come on, you can make one of those, damn it. But obviously the foul trouble certainly didn't help Jaden. Definitely just not a whole lot was on his side in this game. But Rudy Gobert looking like Bill Russell, Garnett, and, without the assists anyway. Because Garnett and Will Chamberlain both could average a decent amount of assists, believe it or not. But a wonderful performance by Rudy Gobert. I said très bien, as that means like very good, Rudy, or well done, basically. So, wonderful performance by Rudy Gobert. The Stifle Tower was stifling in this one, It was absolutely stifling. He did a fantastic job. Yeah, magnifique. So, très bien. Sorry, I can't help it. I'm sorry. I have to imitate everything I get around. Except Shaquille O'Neal, I guess, who I don't think he's a huge fan of ours, but I know Kendrick Perkins is. Thank you, Kendrick Perkins. Shout out to you, one way or another. Whether you give a damn about Timberwolves explosion or not, I'm sure he never heard of it, but you never know. There's not that many Timberwolves podcasts. There's a few, and God bless all of you. Bless your hearts. I know you hate me and want to knock me down. Okay, I'm just kidding. Probably don't give me a second thought, probably, even though I've been around like 3 times longer than all of you, but pretty much, at least in the podcast day world. But yes, a wonderful feeling. It's nice to be able to cover a team that not only makes the postseason, but advances. It feels wonderful. It does. I got to cover, obviously, the Vikings getting to the NFC title game in 2009, way back in the day. That was my second year doing Purple Mafia. Well, third covering the Vikings, because I did the YouTube thing, which it was actually a mistake going off of YouTube. And pretty soon you're going to start seeing more YouTube when it comes to Timberwolves explosion and such. I got to think. So, got to do something. Got to inject something in the show. Otherwise, it's just going to kind of flatline forever, or plateau forever. It's not dead. It's plateauing. Flatline means death. So we're going to get off of that real quickly. But got to see the Vikings get to the conference final in 2009. Waited forever. Got the Wild in the playoffs a few times. They finally advanced in 2014 over the Avalanche, just like they did 11 years earlier. And they advanced again the next year, beating St. Louis. Got the Vikings in the conference final again in 2017. You got to see the Timberwolves make the playoffs finally for the first time in Timberwolves explosion history, only to get a gentleman's sweep at the hands of the Houston Rockets at 1-8, if I remember correctly. A very good Houston team, but of course Chris Paul got hurt down the stretch, and it cost the Rockets chance to win a title against the Warriors in that series in the conference final that year. That was frustrating beyond belief. That was also the Jimmy Butler year, who I don't know. I think he's a pseudo winner. I really do. So I've got I could go on and on about frustrations of Jimmy Butler, but I think he's a pseudo leader and a pseudo winner. I really do. I think he's fake. I think, as Anthony Edwards said years ago when Jimmy was trash talking him, he said, "Shit be fake." Yeah, it is. It's fake. The guy's fake, and I hope it all falls apart for the Warriors down the stretch here, be it versus Houston or versus Minnesota. So we'll talk about that in segment number 2. The player of the series for me, gosh, it can't be Rudy Gobert, even though he had his moments and obviously had a phenomenal Game 5, but he's the player of Game 5 for sure. The player of the whole series, it could be Randall, it could be Anthony Edwards, it could be McDaniels. We'll go with Anthony Edwards, though. And I think, again, even though he shot terribly, he did a lot of other things. 11 rebounds, that's a shooting guard. 11 rebounds. Then in a game when you had the vacuum cleaner, Rudy Gobert, getting 24, he still went up with 11? That's pretty good. 8 assists with no turnovers, 3 steals. In a game he shot like dog poop. He played 43 minutes and did all those other things. It's pretty impressive. So, and then you had the 43-point game and the 29, and then da-da-da-da. So Anthony Edwards is your Lone Wolf Award winner for the Wolves versus Lakers series. And, to Vince Germano, all the respect in the world. Other Laker fans as well. Stu Benson. Of course, Brent Veal. I mean, absolutely love you to death. I don't mention Brent Veal enough, and I feel terrible about that. He's an awesome guy. Obviously, he's the cousin and former co-host, of course, on the basketball show with gone but not forgotten, Pumpa or Reese Pedretti. So huge thing there. So we're gonna definitely we're gonna hear from Brent Veal, also known as Train, like B Train basically is his nickname. So can't wait to talk to him. I believe coming out of Bendigo, Australia. Am I saying that correctly? Is it Bendigo or Brisbane? I believe like around there. So God bless you guys, man. Seriously. And yep, he's a Laker fan. Pumpa was a Warriors fan. I remember there was a guy named Luke Williams a while back we used to talk to, also from the Warriors. I think he got frustrated with some of us hating on his team, but it is what it is. I mean, I don't like the Warriors. I just don't. I just don't. Not until Rubber Muncher's gone. I can't wait till he's gone. And I know, I don't know, 85% of people listening are like, probably, what's wrong with this guy? Rubber Muncher, excuse me, Steph Curry was the greatest, one of the greatest shooter ever. He's the greatest shooter ever and one of the best players. Yeah, I know. That doesn't mean I have to like him, though. A lot of people don't like Michael Jordan, and he's still the best ever. A lot of people don't like him. A lot of people don't like LeBron, second best ever. In some people's eyes, best ever, second. But all the respect in the world to LeBron James as well. Regardless if we can't stand the complaining and the bitching and moaning and the entitlement. It's there. Oh, it's there. Luka Doncic, it's absolutely there. And Luka Doncic has done a hell of a lot less than LeBron James. So, I don't know. I mean, God bless Luka, I guess. But bless your heart, Luka. But, oof, you get on my bleeping nerves, buddy. So you are on Mount Rushmore. Lucky for you, you're number 4, though. You haven't reached Booker's level, and definitely not a Jimmy Butler or a Steph bleeping Curry's level. At Mount Dislike more, because I dislike them more and more and more every day. If that makes sense. So, with that said, I've babbled enough. It was a wonderful series for the Timberwolves. Again, we'll see what happens with J.J. Redick, the Lakers, and all that. J.J. Redick probably needs to take a piece of humble pie a little bit, just like the Golden State Warriors and several other teams. But probably needs a little humble pie, I think. And we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully that he hopefully can calm down a little bit. And we'll see what happens with the Lakers. Hopefully Luka Doncic grows up a little bit as well. He rubs people the wrong way, man. Let me tell you. With that said, I've babbled enough. The Johnny Flynn Memorial for this series probably has to go to Nikhil. What the heck happened to him? He shot like garbage. He got a terrible series. So hopefully Nikhil can be better. Hopefully. Naz Reid obviously has been huge in clutch. He wasn't a whole lot of a factor in Game 5, but he was huge in Game 3. Let me tell you, huge in Game 1. Absolutely massive in Game 1 and 2. So thank you, Naz, at the end of the day. I've babbled enough. Take a quick break and come back and look around the league and all that good stuff. Are you looking for a really nice Timberwolves-related Facebook page out there with cool fans and a wonderful host? Well, look no further than Wolfpack from Flip to Finch, hosted by Scott Doherty. He does a great job. Scott Doherty's an awesome guy, and the fan base on there, obviously passionate about the Wolves, but also respectful of other people's opinions regarding the team. Check out the page. It's awesome. Wolfpack from Flip to Finch. And we are back here on segment number 2, looking around the league and such. I'll try to be a little bit more brief than I was in the first segment. I mean, it was 3 epic games, back and forth. Houston and Golden State flashing on the screen right now, and advertising for tonight's game, and all of that. So, I'm so sick of Steph Curry's and his freaking threes. I'm so sick of them. Just imagine if we play them in this series. This is, and there's a pretty good chance that's who it's probably going to be. I mean, there's a chance the Rockets come back and win, but it's probably going to be Golden State. And just imagining it is, what an incredible pleasure it would be to destroy their, to destroy their ass in this series. It's time. It really is. It's time. I mean, what a pleasure it would be Why am I pressing that one? Not schedule, stats. It's called stats, not schedule. Stupid, stupid, stupid. Well, that's okay. It's not too complicated. You just push the button and that's it. So we're just imagining we're going to play the Warriors. We'll imagine Houston as well. Obviously, Curry, he is what he is. I hate him. But about 40% from outside, 25 points a game. He looks tired off and on during the course of the season. He'd have his tired games, and then the next game he's scorching the net. So it is what it is. He's getting older. He's had injuries just like everybody else. Oh, and real quick for, to the Laker fans that have been kind to Timberwolves explosion over the years. And I really appreciate you guys. This is a lemon and tomato juice to you guys. And believe me, lemon and tomato juice is a ton of respect on this show. So, absolutely. So I just want you to know how much I appreciate and respect you guys. Vince and Brent and Stu Benson, if he's listening, and any other Laker fans that haven't introduced themselves but have been loyal to the show. Really appreciate you. Golden State fans, God bless you. Bless your hearts. If you can stand me after all the crap I've given your team, because I can't stand them, but it is what it is. Jimmy Butler, all the crap he did here, why the heck would I ever want him to win anything? Seriously, and all the crap he did in Miami, and the crap he did in Chicago, and the crap he did in Philadelphia, and the crap he hopefully does in Golden State. Oh, wouldn't that be beautiful? Wouldn't that be wonderful? But magically, everything's working out just fine right now. It did in Miami. Houston put the hammer to Golden State in games 2 and games 5. So Houston obviously does have capabilities of beating the Warriors, but will they beat the Warriors? That's the question. They certainly have some wonderful players and all that, but we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, they got Jabari Smith. Jalen Green is absolutely awesome, and he'd be a tough guy to play against. Shungan has been a tough matchup for Rudy Gobert, but the Timberwolves have played Houston okay. It's been kind of a tough, tight matchup. It's kind of like Denver last year, maybe, where the Wolves would beat Denver and lose to Denver, and beat Denver and lose to Denver. It's kind of that type of thing. I could see a back and forth 7-game type of series versus the Houston Rockets. Golden State, it could be it could be a 5 or 6 game win for the Wolves, and it could be a 5 or 6 game win for the Warriors. It could. And believe me, I'm scared to death of the possibility of losing to the freaking Warriors and how awful it would be, and all the anger and frustration of seeing that little guy I don't like very much. And he's not little, but he looks little to other players out there. And he looks way younger than his age, that kind of thing. It's annoying. That little, I can't stand him. Hit threes and do his subtle showboating that he's going to keep doing for the rest of his life, basically. Happening against the Wolves. It was a tough matchup this year. The Warriors did beat the Wolves 3-1, whereas the last couple of years the Wolves put the hammer on the Warriors, and it was an absolute pleasure. Draymond Green got pissed off. Draymond Green would try to go Anthony Edwards into a fight, and Anthony Edwards was just like, all right, man, I'll just keep beating you, that type of thing. And Draymond kept going at him, what are you going to bleep and do, and Anthony Edwards kept doing things to them. So hopefully that's going to be the case going into this upcoming series. Man, I do believe this Timberwolves team can and will win versus Houston or the Golden State Warriors in 6 or 7. Houston would have home court if it's Wolves. If it's Houston, they have home court. If it's the Warriors, the Wolves have home court. So Houston has home court if it's Minnesota, because they're the number 2 seed there if they win. Golden State is the number 7, despite the fact they're arguably more dangerous than the Houston Rockets. Houston's been strong all season, but at the end of the day, they only won 51 games. They won one more game than the Lakers. So that's the thing. And they're kind of young. Obviously, their coach is still young, but he's had some experience. And Steve Kerr's been with the Bulls, the Spurs, even the Suns many years ago. Obviously, yeah, he was with won 3 titles with the Bulls, at least 1 championship with the Spurs. I think he won 4 titles in a row. He was on the 99 Spurs, and that was kind of like the twilight of Steve Kerr's career. But it's not like the Spurs won again right away. But he's been around winning throughout the later stages of his career, and obviously coaching the Warriors it's been good. I don't like saying it, but it has. So there's that to go up against. Either way, I'm believing the Wolves win in 6 or 7 versus Golden State or Houston. But obviously, no guarantee one way or another. Look at Houston for a second here. Obviously, I talked about Sugar. I'm never going to say it correctly. Sungun. Again, it sounds like it could be Japanese or something, but obviously it's not. He's had a hell of a career. Obviously, early on, he's been a nice player. Is what I'm trying to say. He's a double threat. Not a huge shot blocker, but he can be a pain in the ass. Jalen Green can go off some nights, and some nights he's just off. Jalen Green's a young player, 42% from the floor, 35% from downtown. Sungun is about a 50% guy, the tough guy in the middle. Fred Van, yeah, that guy. He can get red hot as well. He can be a pain in the ass to play against, and he can suck as well at times. 37.8 for the season field goal percentage, but sometimes he'll scorch that net. He'll drive you nuts, and definitely has a game to him. Jabari Smith's a nice athlete, a spark plug kind of guy, 30 minutes a game. Super athletic, one of those long athletic type of guys. Jeff Green, the wily vet, is he still there? Or was he? Yeah, and Steven Adams. Steven Adams, tough physical guy with the what were they called? The wasn't he with both the Thunder and the Grizzlies? Yeah. He was with the Thunder and the Grizzlies. Yep, beat us in that damn series. That was annoying. He was even in New Orleans for a minute, but he was with the Thunder for a long time. Coming out of New Zealand, just like Tanae and Levi Brown. Absolutely love you guys. Pillars of this show. First year in Houston, but way less minutes. Definitely in a reserve role, playing behind the big guy, the younger big guy there in Houston. So Dylan Brooks can be a pain in the butt to go up against, and obviously, they got rid of him in Memphis because he's kind of a headache to deal with, I guess. So there's that. Pardon me. Jalen Green is from California. Yeah, he was the number 2 pick in 2021. So a year after Anthony Edwards. And again, he can go off and he can be off, as well. But so that'd be a guy to worry about. Sungun, same draft as Green, also to the Rockets. Nice draft, guys. Green and Sungun in the same draft. Coming out of Turkey. That's what I thought it was, Turkey. So, okay, I'm just kidding. I know, it's a country. It's not a bird. But he's a pretty big turkey, isn't he? 6'11", 255. Has his moments, he sure does. He's a pain in the butt to play against for the Wolves at times, but fun. It's a fun team to play against. The Wolves had some pretty good games. So I think, in a lot of ways, the overall good game factor, I think you want Houston. But for the story factor, obviously the possibility of Anthony Edwards adding another Hall of Famer to the list to dethrone or to beat in the postseason, like starting last year with Kevin Durant, Mr. the Cyclops, Nikola Jokic, knocking those guys out of the postseason. LeBron bleeping James and Luka Doncic this year, and then possibly add Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler to the list, and Draymond Green, who I think is as much as I don't like the guy at times, I think he's a Hall of Fame player. Yeah, maybe not first ballot, but I think he's Hall of Fame. Curry, yeah, I know. Duh, of course. Doesn't mean I have to like him. But yeah, he's Hall of Fame. No crap. What's the other one? Well, Klay Thompson's not there anymore. Yeah, Jimmy Butler. I don't know if he's Hall of Fame or not. Probably. I don't like him, but probably. How can you stand him if you're from Minnesota? Jimmy was my favorite player. Really? Sure, okay, he's your favorite. Get out of my face. Just go away. Just go. Obviously, Wiggins isn't there anymore. He's with Miami, and they got obliterated in their last game versus the Cavs. OKC, we'll talk about them in a minute here. Let's just keep moving. I've babbled enough about these up-and-coming teams, but that series, we'll see how it turns out. I'm guessing the Warriors win tonight. That's just my guess, and that's probably who we're playing, but who knows? Maybe it won't be. Denver and let's go out east first. Cleveland, Miami, 4-game sweep for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Pretty easy one. Miami Heat, the first 10 seed to make the postseason, and they are one of the first teams out in the postseason. Indiana, Miami, Milwaukee, Indiana, I did pick them to win in 5. I did, and I was correct. So I get the Phil Mackey treatment there. I did. I was one of the only people picking Indy in 5, and they got the job done. I think it's a wonderful, it's a very good team. I think they deserve tons of respect. Love what they can do out there. And it was a back and forth they had back and forth moments in the series, but Milwaukee got the job done. Generally speaking, there were some ugly moments. I was not impressed at all by Dame Lillard yelling from the bench, I'll whoop your ass or something like that to Tyrese Halliburton. Okay, you are in warm-ups. You're going to whoop whose ass? Shut the hell up and sit down. I don't care who you are, Dame. Sit down and shut up. Just like Garnett running his big mouth against the Bulls or whatever in the second round years ago when he had the injured knee. Dude, shut up. You're not going to whoop anybody's ass. You're injured. Shut up. So stuff like that I have no patience for. I'm not impressed at all. Was it Halliburton's dad? I think along the lines of, Halliburton's dad acting like an idiot to Giannis. That was stupid as well. Just sit down and go away. Just go away. We're happy for you. Like, have a nice, pleasant post-game interview with whoever afterward or something. If they really want you on the air, and if they don't, get the hell out of the way. Just stay. Just stop it. Stop it. Stop it. You can tweet all you want or whatever, or X post, whatever the hell they call it. Yeah, just go away. It's so annoying. You know, like Deion Sanders and Shadur Sanders, all that stuff. We talked about that on Purple Mafia, the draft review. There's the reason why Shadur Sanders dropped to the 5th round when he should have gone 10th to 21st overall. Because him and his dad are a couple of jackasses. That's why. But that's where it's both of them. I don't think Tyrese is a jackass. But I think his dad's, dude, just back off, okay? Speaking of back off or back and forth or whatever, New York and Detroit, what a series that was. Detroit with a heartbreaking loss to put them behind the 8 ball, unfortunately for them. Extremely frustrating. Our guy here, J.B. Bickerstaff, who used to play for the Minnesota Golden Gophers and used to broadcast for the Timberwolves. Color commentator for a short time on the radio before he became an NBA assistant coach and ultimately a head coach, which is what he wanted to become all those years ago when he was a Gopher. I remember him talking about he wanted to get in coaching because his dad was Bernie Bickerstaff, of course, is former Seattle Supersonics coach, and I believe in other places as well. There are even rumors about him coming here for a minute years ago, but he was already pretty old by then, and an older guy who'd been out of coaching for a minute. But JB's doing a good job in Detroit. Very impressed, but unfortunately the Knicks overcome and win that one in 6. Boston, Orlando, I kind of felt, the whole series that's going to be Boston and New York in the second round, and that's just all you got to say. Orlando has some nice players and all that, but they're not ready to compete in the postseason. They're ready to get to the postseason, but not really compete and make a huge difference. And that showed a 4-1 victory, gentleman's sweep by the Boston Celtics. Boston versus Knicks in the second round, an East Coast battle. Yeah, beat those Celtics and beat those Knicks. Get out of my yard, you bastards. That kind of thing. Boston has home court advantage versus the New York Knicks. Home court. They're smoking their cigars with Red Auerbach over there, Yeah, they're smoking those cigars. It's good stuff. Now let's go to Cheers, and where everybody knows their name. Okay, anyhow, you get the idea. Cleveland, Indiana, second round, awesome. Boston, New York. Who did I have? Did I have the Knicks beating Boston? They might. I mean, getting Detroit, that's a pretty good series. Pretty good job by the Knicks to get that job done. Clutch performances by Jalen Brunson. Karl Anthony Towns would have some good moments. I think they're doing a good job there. Detroit obviously posed a massive threat. They could have been like the Wolves, knocked the Knicks out in 5 or 6. Instead, New York overcame that and got the job done. Detroit will be a threat in the Eastern Conference for many years, I think. So, really looking forward to what the Detroit Pistons can do. Nice to see them, as they're one of the stables of NBA history, going back to Fort Wayne in the 1940s. So they're one of those teams, just like the Knicks are, the Celtics. They're a heritage team, whether you like them or not. The Detroit in the NBA playoffs is a good thing. It is. Bucks go back a while. Indiana is a basketball maven, whether it's high school, college, pee-wees, pros, whatever the heck you call it. So it's nice to see Indiana doing something. Cleveland, obviously classic as well. And we'll see. That's going to be a tough one. Who's going to win that series? Did I have the Knicks winning? I'm going to stick with that. I think Knicks win that series and go to the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm going to stick with Cleveland, New York in the East. Cleveland, Indy's going to go to 7. Cleveland's going to have to really earn it. But then Cavs win in 6 over the Knicks to go to the finals, where I got a feeling it just might be us. It just might be the Timberwolves. They might be one of those crazy six seeds, but I don't know. I'm going to be careful on that, just for now to be safe. I'll say the Wolves get past Golden State or Houston in 6 or 7, and then it'll be probably OKC and maybe the Thunder versus the Cavs in the finals, with the Cavs winning. But maybe it'll be the Thunder. Maybe it's the Thunder's year. They took care of Memphis pretty good. There was a close comebacks where Memphis just couldn't get it done, kind of like how Memphis came back on the Wolves multiple times and frustrated us. In this case, Oklahoma City didn't allow Memphis to win a single game, so you had 2 sweeps with the 1-8 there going on there. And then the final thing to talk about is Clippers Denver. That's going to game number 7 in Denver, Colorado. And I think I had the Clippers winning that series, I think in 7, didn't I? Or did I have 6? Maybe them closing it out. But the fact they lost an extra game to the Clippers, so now they have to go to Denver. Now Denver has proven they can lose a game 7 at home versus the Timberwolves. Do the Clippers have what it takes? Man, it's a good series. It's a really good series. I mean, either one of them is going to pose a pretty good threat for OKC, but unfortunately, depending on if OKC gets kind of like, they've been sitting around too long and, you kind of lose your momentum. That's what could hurt OKC and the other team there, Denver or LA Clippers, having tons of momentum going to the second round. That's where one of them might win, but I think probably fatigue might be a factor for either Denver or the Clippers, and OKC cruises to the West Finals versus Timberwolves. Yeah, Timberwolves go back to the West Finals, which would be really cool. But who am I picking tonight between Denver and the Clippers? Or not tonight, but tomorrow? It would have to be, yeah. Man, I don't know. Saturday night game 7, classic stuff. And then to get the second round action going into next week. Fun. And Houston Golden State might go to game 7. If it goes to game 7, Houston wins. Put it that way. Houston will win the series. Obviously, whoever wins tonight is going to win. Well, not obviously. If Golden State wins, the series is over. So tonight's game is kind of the series, one way or another, I think. I think Houston would carry the momentum to a 3-1 comeback, which would be wonderful to see. To see Golden State fall apart again in one of those. Denver Clippers. I can't make up my mind on this one. Denver. Yeah, Denver versus OKC. OKC wins in 5. OKC will win pretty comfortably, I think, unfortunately, and then it's Minnesota and OKC, and it's going to be very close. That's going to be a tough one. And if the Wolves can overcome it, it'd be wonderful, but I don't know. It'd be a wonderful matchup for us. We've played them well, kind of like Houston, so we'll have to wait and see how that goes. With that said, we'll take another quick break, get to fan interaction. We're already 1 hour into the show. Holy Toledo. And we are back here on Timberwolves Explosion fan interaction segment. I was kind of going on and on about Anthony Edwards. I was talking to Marcus the Forecaster about Anthony Edwards is more kind of, lighthearted when he's talking stuff to people, and Luka seems more mean-spirited, kind of a jerk. And I was saying Dallas traded him for a reason, da-da-da. And then Marcus said, oh, yeah, for sure, Luka is a cunt. Like, that's where the Australian part comes in. Oh, yeah, Luka's a cunt. They use that word a lot. I apologize if that's extremely inappropriate to somebody out there that does not want to hear that. I apologize. So, but yeah. Next thing, Finch really needs to tell the team to stop taking threes sometimes. Yes, they went over the top. 47 attempts. That was stupid. Stupid. Yep. So, yeah, Marcus also a while back was saying how Westbrook is an idiot. Yeah, he is. Terrible IQ. Let's look at, where are they? Should we go to Brent first? Brent Veal. Yeah, there he is. Train. Shut up, Train. I remember when he said that. So, yep, during the series. So, it's dated, unfortunately. That's the way it goes, and I probably should have talked more. Oh, he actually said that. Wow. I didn't even realize that. Okay, so anyhow, Brent Veal, Train, saying, hey, I'm the one that's definitely not confident. Can't rely on anyone outside of Reeves, Luka, and LeBron. Yeah, and that's how they went overboard with the minutes, right? All you got to do is slow one down. Bloody Lakers went 7 of 40 from 3, which ain't too shabby, and still got pumped. Yep, I think that must have been game 3. Only reason it wasn't a massive blowout is because a few more of those threes fell. Really obvious when you look at both teams' lists now. Both teams list now that Wolves have more legit NBA players on their team. Wolves in 6. I didn't realize Brent said that part. I missed that last part. Wolves in 6. Huh. Wow. I didn't realize he was saying that. Yeah, that's crazy. He was saying shame Luka couldn't pull off a poo game like Kobe would have. Ha. He did well to play 40 minutes with crook guts. Yeah, that was game 4. Yep, Luka was sick. Yep, he wasn't feeling well. And then in game 5, he kind of wrenched his back a bit, but came on and played like the hero he is, I suppose. Yep, and then Brent caught up to Timberwolves explosion and say, hey, great episode there, big dog. Got a chuckle out of you giving it to LeBron and Luka for crying to the ref all the time. Yeah. He says, I hate it too. Wouldn't see Kobe carry on like that very often. He just shoot him and look at that, and he just shoot him the look that could kill. Classic Lakers Kobe fan take right there. Ha. I do love Luka and thought he was a god too before he was purple and gold. Yep, before he was a purple and gold. I was saying how people think he's like a god out there, and he's really not, obviously. And really, nobody, no human being is a god, by the way. But yeah, just saying. You know how people were going way over the top with, oh, that's a big story. People were going over the top with their star players like Garnett locally. So Popovich is done. Well, I mean, he's been coaching since '97, 5 titles, amazing run. He was this assistant coach with, was it like Brian Hill, I think it was, right? He was assistant coach, took over, kind of like, okay, we'll give this Popovich guy a chance. And Popovich, great career, about 30 years almost as a coach of the Spurs. What a run. So what's his name? Sloan, like a Jerry Sloan-like career with even more success, winning championships. It was a better roster than the Jazz had. The Jazz had some great players, but Spurs a little bit better, and Popovich handled it probably a little bit better as well. I don't know where Sloan's politics were. Popovich, I can't say I'm Popovich's best friend politically, but that's okay. It is what it is. We all have our difference of opinions, and I don't want to get on that. I probably shouldn't have just now, but too late. It's there. So it is what it is. I mean, we don't need to all hide who we are necessarily just to be popular or not be hated. But yeah, it is what it is. So great job. Great job, Popovich. Respect. And I remember one thing I noticed about Popovich years ago when the Spurs were in a game, they were taking shots. They simply miss, and then they'd lose the game by a little bit. And he just simply said, "Good job, guys. It was all right." Like that was good. He wasn't being sarcastic. He was saying, you took the shots. They just didn't go in. Like you executed the plays well, they just didn't go in, and that's how it goes sometimes. So I like that style. Like it's not like he's like, bleep you guys, can't you make a damn shot? He wasn't going like that, and that's how coaches have shelf lives, I'm sure. And you like think that as a fan, like why can't you make a bleeping shot? Dang it, But sometimes that's not the way to be if you're the head coach of a team. So impressive. Popovich, just little things like that you notice, and like that was interesting, Okay, so more fan interaction. We're gonna hear from Tanae more, which I'm really happy about. He'd been probably busy, which that's I know Tanae's a hard worker, boy. Let me tell you. So, I'm a hard worker too. Yeah, I mean, well, I think Tanae's a hard worker. Yeah, from what I can tell. So, at TWolvesEX, at TWolvesEX. Come on. Then you get the spinning wheel because I was stupidly didn't have it up. And we still get the spinning wheel. Isn't it fun? Don't you love spinning wheels? It's the most fun part of doing anything, isn't it? Oh, yeah, and I got a pretty cool repost there. Yeah, this one's going to go on a little bit here. It's going to be a little bit longer show. And what do you expect? I mean, we beat the Lakers in 5. That's insane. I want to thank Tanae and Vince Germano for retweeting the most recent show when I said there's a real chance Wolves actually win that series. Yep, Dagger, that was the big 3 by Mr. Ant. Or was it? No, that was Nas. No, it's Dagger, Dagger, Dagger. People like that. Oh yeah, okay. This month, this was on April 26th. And I deleted the post. Didn't I read? Oh, okay. Yeah, but they kept it. Yeah, they kept all this. It was saying Julia. I was saying Julia said how this team is battle tested. Julius Randle. That, yeah, Hopeless Wolves fan was saying, I love Julia. I was saying, bleeping voice text, I'm going to delete and repost this. And he says, haha. So we had fun with that one. I appreciate that, Hopeless Wolves fan. And I do like the honesty by Hopeless Wolves fan. Believe me, when you get frustrated at the team. And I was saying how Houston was imploding and blew an opportunity to beat the Warriors. Yeah, bull crap. And that was liked by a few people. Rui hitting catch and shoot three after catch and shoot three, and I was getting pissed off and cursing a bit. Okay, and here comes Tanae Brown. Awesome. So he says, series at 3-1. I wonder what it would be like. Why can't I read properly? Series at 3-1. I wonder what it would be if the Lakers had a competent coach. Oh, Redick seems over his head, highlighted by how poorly the Lakers are executing in the fourth. Do you think I'm off for this take, Vinrock? That'd be Vince Germano, of course. No. I mean, me personally, no, because I know you're asking Vince, but it's like me, it's like, no. I think playing guys a whole second half is a little too much. It is. One's injury prone, one's sporty, as good as they are. Straight wild talk. Here we go. Says maybe if LeBron let his GM pick a coach, it would be different. He also cost the Lakers draft pick by forcing them to pick his son. Yeah. Great player, but can't wait until he's out of the league. Woo-wee! Straight wild talk. Well, that's straight talk, all right. I was saying, yep, it is pretty bad. He's definitely a dictator. He was already way back in his first stint in Cleveland. Yep, and then Tanae responded with, was it David Blatt he had as his coach there that he got fired? That was in the first stint in Cleveland, yep. When they had the best record in the league, remember that? I always hoped he'd end up coaching the Wolves, him being Blatt. Yep, he was one of the best coaches in Europe. I was saying, yeah, I remember that real well. I felt bad for Cleveland and all that. And Tanae said, they got their title at least. We continue to wait. And I was saying, yep, very true. And Vince responded with, this is shit take, Joey. You know it, brother. This is a shit take, Joey. Vince says, I mean, if LBJ was a Timberwolf for the past 20 years, your shit takes like this happen from you blokes? No chance. Ooh. Ouch. Oh. Oof. Tanae responding with, considering I was fuming when the Wolves drafted Ant, I am full of shit takes, and I'm not scared to say them. Ha ha. Oh, that's Tanae responding, and Vince was laughing. So, all lighthearted, kind of Anthony Edwards like trash talking here. We're not like calling people names and being mean spirited and stuff. So, yeah. So that's good. I like that. That was a great back and forth. Oh. Yeah. Oh, I didn't see that. When he was talking about the 3-1, Vince responded with, mate, give me a spell, please. Yep, so this was still about the fourth, and he was talking about the coach, Redick. Tanae says, perhaps I just find he comes off as a muppet in his interviews, so I don't like him. I agree, Tanae, on that one. I do, because, yes, especially before Game 5, though. Because this is before Game... This right here, that interview hadn't happened yet. That was pretty Muppet-like.
Yes, that's bullshit. I'm a good coach.
Okay, sorry. Anyhow, Vince responds with, you're a Muppet, but I still love you. Yeah, we still love you too, Vince. Yep, and it still goes on. Yep, now this is a fun conversation, and I was saying it is very Muppet-like to play a 40-year-old legend an entire half. I did say legend, by the way. That does seem kind of strange. I suppose every coach has Muppet capabilities. Look at Finch sometimes. Yeah, because sometimes. Vince says, but that 40-year-old is LeBron James. I'm going to trust him more than anyone I could bring off our bench. Yeah, I think fair enough, basically. Fair enough. Tanae responded with, he's still better than most in their prime. In their prime players from all sports. Should genuinely be studied how he's been able to keep his body healthy for so long. I'm 30 and struggle to shoot a ball for more than 20 minutes now. Haha. Yep, I feel you. And I'm unfortunately 45 myself. I think Vince is a year or two older. Sorry if I'm giving away people's age. If Vince doesn't want that. But, yeah. Well, we're Gen Xers. Yes, we are. We are Gen X's, my friend. Yep, so 30 and struggling a bit. Yeah, I mean, I understand. Plus, obviously, when you you work your butt off too, you get more and more tired. Maybe you get eating habits as well. Like, I can relate to that, unfortunately. Bad eating habits when you do physical work. You just want to eat like Garfield or Homer Simpson or something. And yeah, it's it has its ill effects. Today looks like he's in a hell of a lot better shape than me, though. Let me tell you, he could kick my butt, I think. Yeah. Ooh, Vince. Yeah, I think you're right. And we almost did. Oh, yep. And Vince was saying, yeah, we got him fired, or LeBron got what's his name fired. That would be Blatt. But they also won a title. That's true. I don't know why these didn't show up. Dan, Minnesota, thank you very much. Also, he's been on Barrero. He's a well-known guy for getting into Minnesota sports history, bad history and good history. But how there's the what is it? Like really frustrating history, like the missed kick in '98, and North Stars losing 8-0 to Pittsburgh in Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals, which is what it was called then. So stuff like that. Yeah, he retweeted it. I was saying, for the first time in franchise history, the Timberwolves advanced past the first round in consecutive seasons. Yeah. Vince was saying, you're creating bad juju, when I was saying seeing Luka miss that layup was so satisfying. Yeah, we almost did lose that game, so I did create some bad juju for a minute there. Juju. Oh, that was fun. I think here's a new one. Yep, a new one. Today says LeBron and Luka, Steph and Butler, OKC Thunder. Feels like that run Dirk defeated to win his title with the Mavs. Oh, I hope you're right. I hope you're right. I was saying, what an incredible story that would be. It needs to happen. What an honor it would be to put an end to the stupid Warriors. First of all, yeah. Yep. First of all, and once and for all as well. Yep. This is what got it started too. I was saying, I'm sure everyone will pick the Warriors if it's them. The Golden State Warriors can kiss my ass. I hope they stick the dagger and twist it 15 times. Nothing short of a championship would be better than knocking that asshole team to the ground once and for all. And I stand by that phrase, by that statement there. So we're still going, yep. Woo, but I like it. This is fun. Today he says, going into the second round, Finch needs to find a way to get Dante DiVincenzo more minutes and cut Conley's minutes. Seems straightforward to me. Yeah, yep. Cut Conley, you don't want him to fall apart. You really don't. Dante needs to shoot better too. God, he's frustrating sometimes. Sometimes he's just, I don't know. I don't want him to be like one of those, like the Anthony Peeler type guy who shoots you out of a game. I don't think that's who he is, though. I think he's got a higher IQ than the Anthony Peeler types. Like, let me tell you, that's the wrong Anthony. When you talk about like Anthony Edwards, Anthony this, Anthony that, Anthony Davis, Anthony Peeler was the wrong Anthony. Man, he drove us crazy here in Minnesota. Let me tell you, for us older Wolves fans that go back to, the 2000s, early 2000s. 98 he was wonderful, but right after that, it's just, like reality set in. There's a reason why he wasn't thought of that highly. He just had a great run that year after the trade for poor Doug West. Poor guy. Trading him to the Vancouver Grizzlies at the time is what they were called. So, yeah, that looks like that wraps things up. Hell of a show. I really appreciate you guys. This is a little bit longer than normal, but it's going to be like an hour and 20 minutes or so. But we want to just say really thank you very much, and let's keep this show going. Keep commenting, keep up, and can't wait. Again, wishing all of you Laker fans the best. I'm not crashing you at all. God bless all of you, and we'll see. Hopefully the Wolves can beat the Warriors or the Rockets, and we'll do our best to keep up with that here on Timberwolves Explosion. Until then, take care, and go Timberwolves.